about doing it my way, having complete control, nobody really wanted to do it. So I had to do it.
I've worked with a lot of different men, obviously, as we all have. But it was just always fascinating to me because I did get a moniker of being like a diva, which I never felt I deserved.
I grew up, I'm Puerto Rican, so I like rice and beans.
Are you Puerto Rican?
And yes, I am.
And then at the end of it, she's just like, don't touch me. And I was like, I didn't even touch
I did not love delivering coffee to
I like taking my hair out like this. It reminds me like when I was 16 in the Bronx.
Both attended an all-girls Catholic high school in an Irish and Italian neighborhood, so you weren't running up and down the block.
Probably what was going through her mind is her career flashing before her eyes.
I'm not someone who regularly keeps up to date with celebrity gossip, but oh man, these stories of assistants exposing Jennifer Lopez's attitude and hard-edged personality had me on the edge of my seat. I never realized how vile she could potentially be. Of course, it's majority done by word of mouth, but nonetheless, these are some eye-openers about Jenny from the block. This jet company story is a wild ride. When I tell you my mouth was dropped the entire time reading these alleged posts, the tale comes from an ex-user by the name of Moira Webb, who claims they were working for a private jet company during the time of this story, and labeled JLo as a nightmare person. Moira went on to talk about a few experiences she had with the celebrity, and explains a rather devastating story that even happened to one of her colleagues. Apparently, Jennifer Lopez desperately needed a fruit platter for her catering order before she took off in the AM, and by despair, it wasn't a simple "could you please?" Oh no, it was a full-on shouting demand that she had that platter now. One of the line tech guys, who unluckily got the brunt of it, rushed over to a nearby grocery store to quickly grab the emergency platter, covered in jet fuel might I add, and having his ear to the walkie-talkie the entire time as he navigated between plane landing calls and wondering if strawberries or blueberries would suffice for Her Majesty. As luck would have it, she was already taken off by the time he was pulling into the lot. I'm all for using past experiences to express your artistry, especially when it comes to acting and songwriting, which Lopez did in Jenny from the Block. The song expresses about her time growing up, a time where she didn't have the luxurious items that she has now. Used to have a little, now I have a lot, is a line used within the chorus. Jennifer states that the neighborhood inspires her within her career, but how much of that is actually true? Allegedly, during an endorsement deal with the Italian manufacturing company Fiat, she was supposed to be driving around in one of the cars throughout her past location. However, a barbershop owner by the name of Eligio Cueto claims that Jenny from the Block was not in the car at all, or anywhere on the block for that matter. Jennifer had no comments on it, and I wonder why that was. She could have easily said that she was filming something else that day, or some other career opportunity conflicted with the company's shooting date, but decided to remain quiet. It looks a little suspicious to me, wondering if she intended to at all return to her old neighborhood. If not a conflict within her career, was it a possible conflict within the shoot and a potential issue of not wanting to cooperate? Majority of people love a good JLo performance, especially when it's planned at the World Music Awards. But of course, before the show even goes on, Lopez needs that wind down time and moments of preparation for really gearing herself up before such a big performance. If you had all the money in the world, what would you ask for to help you get ready for such a big gig? Well, if you're anything like Lopez, I would imagine your demands would be just as outrageous and over the top. One of the requests made by the celebrity was to be ferried on a speedboat from Cannes to Monaco. Of course, it can't be just any regular speedboat. It had to be, and I quote, a custom-fitted speedboat, complete with a love seat, faux leather seats, and a champagne fridge. Oh yes, and let's not forget her $3,000 diamond-decorated headphones. Her precious ears on such a loud boat needed to be not only protected, but bedazzled as well. That's just the beginning though, because by the time she finally got there, there were more insane requests being made, and I quote, her people requested that she have an entire floor of the hotel to herself to ensure she wasn't hassled. Privacy was a main concern, so she had a piece of beach roped off too. She spent the morning playing there with her kids, but she declined the offer of a butler, insisting she was happy to do things for herself, like throwing away your own piece of gum perhaps? Because surely that is something you would be happy to do for yourself, right? Sometimes these stories don't come straight from Jennifer's right-hand man or women, but rather everyday working folks like you and me. Some people who work in the retail and food industry have had the misfortune of assisting Lopez when it came to her everyday needs, with one of them involving a pair of shoes. This story allegedly happened at Foot Locker and was uploaded by a TikToker who has since removed the story online. Apparently the singer cussed her out because the store didn't carry the proper shoe size for her twin children. I'm sorry, since when was it the employee's fault for not magically having their shoe ready for you to go? Probably all that time getting what you want has finally gone to her head, expecting her needs and desires to start falling from the sky at this point. Another public story comes from a nail artist who had to place herself upside down because Jennifer wanted her toes done in bed and refused to roll over off her stomach. If this is true, come on girl, how entitled could you be? Couldn't you have at least elevated your feet for the poor woman? The nail artist was so upset that she even had the urge to yell, "B, get up, and get the F out of here." Let's talk about some of the business aspects of it now, specifically related to people who worked side by side at the top with her. Plenty of her assistants have claimed that she had barely paid them, and having myself see the nickname Paylo speculated around online, I shouldn't laugh, but it's quite clever and funny. This has happened before with her former manager Benny Medina, who had accused her of not only paying him improperly, but also he himself was being accused of violating California's Talent Agency Act. He was then fired by her in 2003, with Jennifer Lopez wanting full restrictions from the agency, and to top it off, claiming 10% interest from it. This whole thing was a mess, and Medina wasn't having it. He was going to be sure about having his name cleared from this. The accusations that I misappropriated money from Jennifer Lopez is both untrue and offensive. Jennifer Lopez, by making false allegations against me, is now trying to add me to the long list of people whom she has used and discarded after she took from them all she could get. I look forward to the opportunity to have the world come to know the real Jennifer Lopez. I will defend myself against these lies and will collect from her every dollar for which I am owed. Quoted from Medina himself. The weirdest thing about all of this is that in 2008, he began working with her again. I personally feel, after all that, there is a way too much water under that bridge to properly sustain itself. To say something so bold as the world will come to know the real J-Lo, to only then go back to working with her, something doesn't add up here. There was also a mess within her other agency, Endeavor, who apparently told her to fire Medina or leave the agency. And being the diva that she is, she dropped both of them. I mean, yeah, the girl is big enough to do it, and any other agency, despite her reputation, will be falling over each other to be her next assistant in her career. We also can't forget about the time the reason why one of her longtime assistants, Jilly, left her was because she hadn't bothered to keep her boyfriend, Casper Smart, at the time in check when coming over to visit. He was allegedly rude and treated the staff terribly during his stay. I don't know about you, but I don't date anyone who's rude to waiters, retail workers, or anyone trying to make a decent living in the world. Smart demanded they called him Mr. Smart and would order Jilly to get him drinks. Get up and do it yourself, pal. And Lopez, actually, I'm not surprised you would date someone who's realistically right up your alley. The TikToker that goes by the name Red Peppa Flake claims that her own father used to work for the driving company that once chauffeured Lopez. The girl states that Lopez has a very strict rule when it comes to her drivers. They can't look her in the eye, or at all for that matter, cannot speak to her, and her luggage better not ever touch the ground she walked on. I didn't realize we were dealing with absolute royalty of the music industry here. Bow down to your almighty ice queen. You apparently can't even look in the rearview mirror without assuming you're trying to get a peek at her. Sorry Lopez, let me just stick my head out of the car window instead so that I don't tap grandpa accidentally while backing up. Having an impact like this on a worker where a driver such as this one refuses to help you anywhere is astonishing. You know what? That's actually an accomplishment. And this is coming from someone who always says my thank yous when coming off the TTC. A little refresher for those of you who have been keeping up with this channel for a while. But stay tuned. Who knows what Jenny from the block may pull next time. I'm your host Alice, and I'll catch you very soon.